Personal explanations. Requests for a move to leave the adjournment of the Assembly on definite matters of urgent public importance. Motions relating to the business or sittings of the Assembly are moved by a minister. Introduction of bills, public business, government's business.
Honorable members, the Assembly will now resolve itself into Committee of Supply to begin consideration of the estimates of expenditure for financial year 2025. We are now in Committee of Supply, and we will proceed in accordance with the subcommittee's schedule. Before we take the first ministry, and let me invite the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa and his team, to come in place while I go through some housekeeping matters. Circulated this morning are a few pages of parts of the estimates which have had some errors, and I would like you to substitute. I think everyone has them. It is from Budget Director Sonia Rupnath. Right. So what we have is no impact on the revenue side. However, there are some errors because of how some of the computations were done. Some were done outside of the IFMAS system and then plugged in. I was saying to Budget Director that we did those automatically. So pages 683, you can substitute what was circulated for page 683, and the substituted 683 reflect the correct numbers with no impact on the revenue side. Same for 705, page 706, and page 710. So these are all in the appendices with no impact on the overall expenditure. Is that correct, Honorable Finance Minister?
Yes, Mr. President. They're purely presentational and don't have any impact on overall expenditure or overall revenue.
Thank you,
Very well. Thank you very
Finance
much.
Minister. And I know we do have several members who are very meticulous, so when they would have added back up, they may feel that something went wrong. So these pages now, Honorable Mahipal, will give you or reflects what should have been.
Might I add, sir, with your permission, that they're all from Appendix T, and a simple comparison between what has now been circulated and what was in the estimates would illustrate the inconsequentiality of the corrections that have been made. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. Our first agency today is the Ministry of Agriculture. I need a hard copy. So, Just bear with me so we all can be on the same page digitally and in hard copy. Honorable members, I invite you to turn to pages 138 and 139, and we begin at 10:35 according to my time. And I propose the question that the sum stated for agency code 211, 21, Ministry of Agriculture, chart of account 211, Ministry Administration. And I propose the question that the sum stated herein stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Vince Roy.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the first question I would like to ask this morning of the Minister is, when will the position of Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture be filled? 611. 611.
Okay, let's
611.
611.
Mr. Speaker, we have a permanent secretary acting, and she is doing a good job, and we'll continue until we find one.
Honorable Member, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I notice under the same line item 6111 that there are three positions there that are now it is different from that of 2024, and I'm asking the minister, could he say what has caused the difference in those three administrative positions?
Mr. Chair, the decrease in this line is due to the promotion of two officers, chief accountant and accountant to another ministry. And we have a legal officer that was transferred. So those are the three positions that was the promotion and transfer. That is why you have the three less.
Member Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, moving on. I would like to ask of the minister, what is the salaries and other benefits of the Director General at the Ministry of Agriculture?
Honorable Minister.
So Mr. Chair, I will lay that over. I don't have that information with me here directly, and I will lay that over at a later date.
Thank you very much, Minister. Member Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, further, I'd like to ask of the minister, I don't know if he has this here with him, why is the position of the Director General not listed as an approved position under the ministry at Appendix Q, page 588? And what is the job description of the Director General?
Minister.
Mr. Chair, that position is not only Ministry of Agriculture. You have other ministries that have a Director General. And the Director General played a very important role in supporting the minister and the administration in executing its duty. And the appendix will be updated shortly. And the director's position will be published and his designation in that appendix.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I am aware that the Director General, that position exists at other ministries, but the Director General has been functioning in this position for almost 5 years, and the appendix has not been updated. So is the minister saying that it is a mistake for 5 years that the appendix was not updated and that he cannot have the salaries of the Director General and other his job description at hand.
Mr. Chair,
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, it's not the Ministry of Agriculture duty to update that. The PSM, and they are working. The PSM will update that appendix, and then that will be reflected of the Director General position. But this is no secret that we have a Director General at the Ministry of Agriculture who is performing well and doing a wonderful job for us.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, 6322, I see subsidies and contributions to international organizations. In 2025, there is a budgetary allocation of $155 million. When I look at page 475
The
under,
version they have here.
yes, under international organizations, I recognize that the international coconut community, in 2024, there was a budgetary allocation of almost $13 million, and it was revised to $4 million. And now in 2025, it is at the $4.1 million. Could the minister say what caused the decline and what are the operations or usage of the fund to the international organization?
Minister.
So, Mr. Chair, this line item cater for a number of international organizations. For example, the International Coconut Community were in arrears for $4 million last year, and that is reflected. Last year, we would have hosted LARC, and I want to say that in these organizations, your contribution is being made according to the country's ranking. And since then, from 2020 to 2023, 2024, Guyana ranking has improved tremendously by the FAO, and our fees have increased. And that is why you have seen, for example, if I could give the breakdown for the honorable member to the CARDI, we paying 80 million, FAO 4.392 million, Inter-American Institute for Cooperation, ICA, 9.643, IFAD 50 million, Office International Coconut Community 4.155 million, total 155.324 million. Those are the organizations that we are contributing. But I want to also say that these organizations look forward to Guyana for that role that we are playing. And last year, we would have seen that ICA, because of the role ICA recognized Guyana, the role Guyana have been playing, ICA recognized our president and awarded him the first award for ICA ever, the president of Guyana. So we are getting a lot of cooperation from these organizations. ICA has been helping us also to resuscitate our cocoa and coffee industry. The FAO have been working with us. We have had a report, a study, when many persons were saying about the oil and gas causing low catches. ICA, the FAO would have conducted a study and give the reasons why we have had low catches, and now we are seeing the improvement of those catches. So these organizations are helping us, and we are also working very closely to develop the agriculture sector. That is why we are ranked now almost #1 in the Caribbean in terms of agriculture development and agricultural leadership in CARICOM.
Thank you, Minister. MP.
Thank you,
Jordan.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, one other question on this line. At fisheries, Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism, I see $15 million. But the question really I want to ask here, sir, is to the minister, when will the agreement between Guyana and Suriname be inked, and fishermen will actually have the license and be able to really venture out into that promised agreement with the fishing agreement between Guyana and Suriname?
Mr. Chair,
Minister.
that program, that falls under program 3. I don't know if the honorable member is not looking at this program. It's not in this program. But as he raised the question, I want to answer it. Now, as a country, we must take pride in supporting our people. We must take pride in supporting our people. Now, no other government, and the APNU AFC is guilty of this, never, ever raised the issue of license to Guyanese fisher folks. We had the courage and we went and we raised it, We had the undertaking from the government, not less a person than the president himself. And it's only left to us because they made the commitment. We had it in writing, and we can ask them that they have to give us, or bong them they have to give us. They renege on the commitment. We had it in writing. The Minister of Agriculture, no less than a person than the Minister of Agriculture from Suriname, wrote me and said that they will form a government company. That government company will get the license and license the Guyanese fisher folks. So we must not take advantage when our fisher folks are being harassed by when they go out there to go fish. Let us work together. Let us work as a team to get them 150 licenses were promised by the Suriname authority to give to Guyana. They renege on it, and we are continuing representing that issue. We have raised it at different fora in the Caribbean. We have raised it with the Caribbean Fishing Authority also. But it's their prerogative to give us the license or not, but we are still continuing to make that representation, and we will continue to represent the fisher folks of Guyana.
Thank you, Minister. MP Jordan.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, from the minister, I would like to ask, what is the final analysis with all that you said? 3 years in and we still waiting. What is it that, 4 years rather, that the fisher folks must be told that we will get it in a few months, we will not get it, there's ongoing discussions. What is the final analysis? This is neither going nor coming. Is it dead or is it still on the table? Because you talk about a new company.
Minister.
Mr. Chair, I just said the government of Guyana, our government, is continuing making representation for the licenses for fisher folks. It's not in our hand to give them the license. The honorable member must comprehend this. We are continuing making the representation. We have had the commitment, I said it, and they renege on the commitment. We are continuing representing that issue, and that will be a continue on the agenda as long the PBP Civic is in government.
Thank you, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this is not to be in a back and forth, but the minister is saying that he will continue representing and what's not and what. Yes, but Mr. Speaker, the minister needs to tell the Guyanese public what is the current state of the discussion. What is the current state? Is it promising or is it not? Will we have it or not?
Minister, is it promising?
Here, let me be very slow. Let me be very slow and ask the honorable member if he understand. I just said that the Surinamese authority would have promised us 150 licenses. We had a commitment from no less a person than the president himself. We had an email, I had an email from the Minister of Agriculture from Suriname stating the modus operandi, how they will go about issuing the license. These people doesn't have no ideas what are international relations. They want us to go and force the Surinamese to give the fisher folks license. These people doesn't know how international relations work. They don't know diplomacy. That is why Guyana would have lost its status when they were in government. They never had Guyana's interest at heart. They don't know international relations. They feel that this is a bottom house and cake shop business you're running. We are not running government like that. We work through the diplomatic channel, we work through the international channel, and we will continue to represent the fisher folks. We will continue to represent the fisher folks. That is why this year we budgeted $1.7 billion to continue development in the fishing industry.
Thank you very much, Minister. MP Holder.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, the Honorable Minister seems to be the expert at international relations and all that concerns it. Mr. Speaker, it is 3 to 4 years. This Honorable Minister...
MP Holder, are you going back on the same question?
No, I'm moving on. I'm moving on.
Okay.
I'm moving on. It is 4 years and Guyanese have not yet received. The question to complete that, Mr. Speaker, the other question is that the ban on catfish in Guyana has been another sore issue, and the minister seems to be the expert at IR. Mr. Speaker, we had a state visit from no less of a person than the Secretary of State of the United States of America, then Mike Pompeo. And this government promised that that ban on catfish would be lifted and we will return to that state of having imports and exports and all of that. Mr. Speaker, to date we have zero fishing license from Suriname and the ban is still in place. Could the Honorable Minister say when will that ban be lifted?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, all right, Mr. Chairman, let me see something. If I was in that member queue, I would be ashamed to ask that question. The APNU-AFC caused us to lose the catfish market in America. The AFC-APNU in 2018, they received warning from the FDA, from United States, to get them act together, and it failed, and we lost the market. Now we are working, and I can say the United States Embassy, and we are working very closely to restore Guyana market in the catfish industry. They are the person, they caused it to lose, and these are the people, they come in here to accuse us of their crime. That's why yesterday, they...
The Minister, two imputations you have. One, in terms of their crime, I think.
Yeah, well,
that
Comrade Chair.
and secondly, look at the words, because we had crime and shame. Continue.
All right. So was their fault, Mr. Speaker? Was their fault? They caused Guyana to lose the catfish market in the United States in 2018. We are working very closely with the FDA and the United States Embassy to restore that operation. And we are very close to get it done because we are continuing submitting the kind of the documents that the people wanted. In relation to the fishing licenses, no, I have to make a point that, correct, the point I want to make is that, look, we are continuing representing this issue. We are continuing. You see certain words you can't use in this assembly. But Mr. Speaker, when you get people who embezzle funds, come in here, come talk things, right? No, we have to be careful and talk about these things. We have not impute, I'm saying certain, I don't call any name, right? But the point is that we are very close to restore that market back from Guyana.
Thank you, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we all know that even when we reach to the end of the PPP's term in office in a few months, we will still hear that Barnum is to be blamed and Grange is to be blamed. But Mr. Chair, with the blame being placed at the feet of the coalition, and 4 years in, I'm happy that the minister could say we are close. But Mr. Speaker, many things went just close, as the minister is saying, and it never came true. Could the honorable minister say, how close are we? 1 month, 6 months, 3 months? Tell us how close. Tell us how close the discussions are heading.
Minister.
Mr. Chair, I will not be taking setup here this morning. We are dealing with a foreign country, right? We are dealing with a foreign country. The honorable member, he can say when we gonna meet that period. But the point why I'm trying to make is that we are continue making representation. We are advancing the process, and I'm very optimistic that that will be restored, that the OPNO lost for us.
Thank you very much, Minister. MP Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'll move on. One other question, Mr. Chair, 6116. I'd just like to ask of the minister. I see significant reduction in the amount of employees here under contract, could the honorable minister say what could have caused that? Probably they're on the pensionable status or what? I'd just like to get an update. I think it's about 20 something or so.
Honorable
So,
Minister.
Mr. Chair, like again, we don't put out people out of employment. These persons that were moved, they term them the bonded scholars. People who would have trained, came to the ministry, had experience, work for a year or two, and they have been transferred to different agencies, GLDA, NARI, GRDB. So their employment records will be shown in those autonomous, semi-autonomous agencies.
Thank you, Minister.
Uh-huh.
MP.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, 6294, I recognize an increase in the budgetary allocation for 2025, and it is $64 million. Could the honorable minister just be kind enough to disaggregate that sum? Thank you.
Minister.
Mr. Chair, yes, we have here a $30 million increase, and these are the activity. Manual and Evaluation Planning and Statistic Unit, 17.3. Rice Assessment Committee, we have a Rice Assessment Committee now that functions and look at issues in the various regions. We have 11.274 million budget for that. We have the National Cane Farming Committee, 6 million. We have the Hinterland Development Support, 4.7 million. We have the Agriculture Disaster Risk Management Plan, 3 million. We have the Food and Nutrition Security Strategy Implementation Agri-CARICOM Food System, 3 million. We have the Binding Constraint in Agriculture, the Jack Dales Initiative, 1.8 million. Veterinary Board, Review of Vet Board Development of Regulations and Operating Expenses, 8 million. Evaluator Stipends, 2 million. Stipends for Work, 1 million. Regional Farmers Meeting and Outreaches, 4 million. Support to ASDU Engineers, 2 million, giving you 64 million, 250. 64, yeah, million, 250,000.
Thank you, Minister. MP Jordan. Honorable members, I now put a question that is
Mr. Chair, sorry.
Honorable Member, Ms. Ferguson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. A pleasant morning to you and the entire House. Under that very line item, 6294 other. Last year, we had a budgetary allocation of some 62 million, but you would have expended 33 million based on the revised column. Can you explain the reason for the reduction? And then I know you just gave an explanation for the 64 that is now being requested. So can you explain the reduction between the budgetary sum and that of the revised sum? Thank you.
So,
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, last year we didn't have a vet board, we didn't have the Rice Assessment Committee functioning, and then the planning unit, they were given support by the ASDU staff to do all those units and agency now have been budgeted for in this year's budget.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 21, Program 211, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let us turn to page 499. And I propose the question that the sum stated for program 21, project code 211, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. The honorable member, Mr. Jordan.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, just one question here. I'd just like the honorable minister to disaggregate the $30 million that is allocated for the provision of furniture and equipment, and to be specific, where will the furniture be procured for and the equipment.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, the 30 million disaggregated as follows. IT equipment, 22 million. Off-site backup server, firewall upgrade, firewall backup, upgrade to wireless network, rack mountable, UPS backup for server room, stabilizer heavy duty, surveillance system upgrade and reconfiguration, registry record, center document digitization project, scanner, and handheld heavy duty scanner. That gave us 22,110,000. And then you have a number of other small equipment here, AC unit, UPS backup, stabilizer, office chair, computer desk and laptop, monitor, printer, microphone. Give us the rest to make up 30 million.
Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 21. Program 211, Ministry Administration Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let us turn to pages 140 and 141. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 21. Program 212, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. MP Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, 6321 local organizations, I see $31 billion. Mr. Chair, when I look at pages 4, 6, 9, and I'll move to the other one in a little bit, I recognize that Guyana Livestock Development Authority, Guyana Marketing Corporation, let me take one at a time. Guyana Marketing Corporation received $450 million, sir. Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask of the Honorable Minister, what are the findings and recommendations out of the audit launched by the manager or general manager of GMC involving the special projects manager and the accountant, and what were the actions taken? Mr. Chair, you would recall that in 2024, when we had a budgetary allocation, I think it was a same $450 million, that 405, sorry, we had a number of misappropriations at this agency, new GMC, and the general manager.
MP, you said there was a misappropriation. You have that fact? Yeah.
Mr. Chair, it is.
If there's an allegation is one thing, but if you're stating positively, I'll need some evidence.
Mr. Chair, that or those were the allegations,
Right.
according to the news. But I want the Honorable Minister to say to me, out of the probe, what were the recommendations and the actions taken?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, first of all the documents were looked at by the internal auditors, and they are now with the AGs at the AG's office, right? And so we are waiting the report from the AG's office.
Thank you, Minister. MP Jordan.
Mr. Chair, this matter was an internal matter, or I should say still is an internal matter, and we spent millions of dollars at that agency in last year, and we have, or the minister come to this house for another $450 million. Could the Honorable Minister say whether the two persons allegedly involved are still on the job?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, Mr. Chair, one is on the job and one went to another agencies to work.
Thank you, Minister. MP Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Chair, coming back to the findings, the Honorable Minister made it very clear that they were findings and it was sent to the AG's office.
Mr.
But
Chair, just a correction, please. I didn't make any remarks about findings. I said all the documents were compiled and sent to the AG's office.
You did, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Jordan.
I am so guided, Mr. Chair. But, Mr. Chair, the documents, something is written in those documents. What documents and what were the initial content of the documents regarding the probe?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, all the documents that were required by the AG's office, we sent it across.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, before you continue, I did speak with the Chief Whips with respect to asking the same question 3 and 4 times. And we've started that way. I have no problems if that's the way the House wants to utilize the time allocated. You have the floor again, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Jordan.
Mr. Chair, you see, respectfully, sir, it is not the way you might say we want to go, but Mr. Chair, we are spending millions and millions and billions of dollars on a yearly basis here, and we as a nation and legislators are responsible for the passage, and the minister and the ministry and those who operate have to ensure that they manage and give account for these monies in a proper manner. And sir, when we come here, we have the responsibility of the nation upon our backs to ask questions that will bring clarity. So, Mr. Chair, I am asking of the minister, with all that was said in the probe, what were the initial findings?
Before I ask the Honorable Minister to take the floor, I agree with you, we are here to scrutinize expenditure, but for me, the answer by the Minister is quite clear and more particularly on point because an internal investigation was done. All documents were forwarded to the AG chamber, the competent authority to pronounce on expenditure for this nation. And there is no result as yet. And it would be premature if I was a minister to prefer an answer, especially an answer that people want to hear before I find a report given to me. Honorable Minister, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, I already answered that question. I said all the documents that were required by the AG's office were sent over. And we don't have anything to hide. We are awaiting the findings of the AG's office, and whatever recommendation is recommended, we will implement those recommendations.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Hood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'll move on, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the Mahaika Myconia Barry Agricultural Development Authority was given, or is asking rather, sir, for some it's the same line item all the time, $600 million. Mr. Speaker, 623, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chair, and at this very agency, and Mr. Chair, permit me, sir, you see, it has been months and these things are ongoing continuously, Mr. Chair. And we have no clarity from a government that preaches about transparency and accountability and integrity, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chair, at the MMA ADA, there were allegations of a misappropriation of funds again, Mr. Chair. And Mr. Chair, the board of MMA, in response to one of my articles in the press, the board responded and said that they know of the misappropriation and that they have dealt with it at that time. Mr. Chair, I would like for the Honourable Minister to say to this House what were the actions taken by the board.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, if the member can repeat the question, please.
Yeah, I'm finding it difficult to listen to him also because of the amount of noise in the chamber. Go ahead again.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, summarize the misappropriation allegedly at MMA and the board responding to my press release and saying that they acknowledge the misappropriation and that they have taken action immediately. So I'm asking of the minister what were the actions taken and whether the staff is still in the employs of MMA.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, before I answer that question, I had to clear an issue that the honorable member would have asked earlier, and that in relation to the GMC, right? Now, the GMC, the honorable member said that the GMC has been provided with large sums of money, and you had these issues happening there. But I want to say about the role the new GMC is playing in our country. And you yourself, Mr. Speaker, you would have had experiences to attend these expos and these exhibitions. Over the last 4 years, hundreds of new agro-processors would have come on stream. Over the last 4 years, we brought into the market, the agro-processing market, over 809 new products. Over 809 new products. And yesterday, I heard the leader of the opposition said that we are doing good things, building all these agro-processing facilities around the country, in different parts of the region. And he wants to know what are the items being processed there. So I will just, for the parliament benefit, just list a few items. For example, Mr. Speaker, agro-processing facility at Whitewater. We are doing cassava bread, cashrip, tuma water, cassava meal. The Kumaka packaging facility, we are preparing fresh produce such as cassava, plantain, edo, ginger, yam, turmeric. And I'm enlightening the opposition. These are the places that we build. We not build it around the urban areas alone. We built it in different parts, far and deep south. Bartica, Region 1, Whitewater, Oriala, Siparuta, all these agro-processing facilities. Charity, agro-processing facility, green seasoning, pepper sauce, cashrip, mango achar, carambola fruits, wine for preservative, miracle sauce. Parika agro-processing facility, plantain, cassava, edo, sweet potato, chips. And these things are being exported to Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, the Eastern Caribbean country, North America. You go into Florida now, you are seeing Guyana brand in the store in Florida, in Miami. That is the kind of level we took agro-processing. The Hope dehydrating facility. We are doing green seasoning, pepper sauce, flour, soap, cashrip. Imagine we now producing our own soap through agro-processing. Our own soap being produced right here in Guyana locally. Cashrip, cassava bread, dehydrated fruits, and vegetable powders. Fort Wellington agro-processing facility, green seasoning, pepper sauce, and I invite the honorable member living in West Coast Barbies to visit the agro-processing facility at Fort Wellington. Then we have the Crabwood Creek agro-processing facility. We have flour there, green seasoning, pepper sauce, juices. And only this morning, I was showing my colleague, Honorable Dr. Ashley Singh, that the Guyana School of Agriculture agro-processing facility now are making bread with sweet potato flour, We have the Oriala agro-processing facility. We have fruit juices. We have jam. We have jelly. We have the Marau now agro-processing facility in Region 9. We have fruit juices, baked goods, cassava bread, plantain chips, edo chips, minced meat, ice pickle, chitai, pepper sauce. Imagine that in Deep South, in Region 9. St. Ignatius Agro-Processing Facility. We have peanut butter, cashew nut butter, farine, dehydrated fruit, grind pepper, cookies. We have the Watuka Agro-Processing Facility, my good friend there, Honorable Member Jarmin. I am inviting you to visit the Watuka Agro-Processing Facility. We have green seasoning, pepper sauce, garlic sauce, prepackaged fresh cut fruits, vegetable, coconut water, packaged peas, dehydrated seasoning, fruits and vegetables. Those are the produce. Those are the produce being produced. Then you have a number of new products, being produced. Wine. We have close to about 900 new agro-processors come in the system, mostly women, and that is the impact. So when we appropriate funds here, when we appropriate $450 million for the new GMC, we're bringing in thousands of people into agro-processing. We're producing our own goods to export overseas. We're creating the niche market in Guyana. That's what we are doing. That's what we are doing. We have 15 agro-processing facilities. We are building a new one this year again at Highbury. Imagine that. East Bank Barbies, Highbury. We have built one in Bartica. We are improving the packaging plant at Sophia. We are now doing a large scale from what you call it, these freeze blast, freezing, large scale at Sophia. So this in a nutshell, Mr. Speaker, I can go on and on with agro-processing, right? This here, what we are doing now, we have taken agro-processing to a different level in this country, to a different level.
Yes. Honorable Minister, he did ask a question.
So the last question, Mr. Speaker, yes, indeed, the person who were involved was fired, he was dismissed, and I believe they will recoup back the money. But how much money? 500,000, and it was recouped back, and the person was dismissed.
Thank you, Minister. MP Jordan.
Mr. Chair, I sat and I listened to the minister, went on and on and on. And Mr. Chair, while all of it sounds good, all of that, with the continued unscrupulous behavior or unscrupulous operations at the ministry, will not benefit Guyanese, Mr. Speaker. One other issue, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, there was another probe, and this probe was at the GLDA. Mr. Chair, the Honorable Minister is being asked now, what is the findings or are the findings of the probe that was launched into the sabotage of duck eggs at GLD?
Okay, two issues here. Be careful with the language again. Imputing that there's a lot of inconsistencies at the Ministry of Agriculture and then sabotage. I don't think. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Honorable Minister.
So, Mr. Speaker, we know that GLDA is an important agency. As a matter of fact, thousands of black giant birds we have distributed across this country. Over 500,000 in Region 1, Region 2, and all over Region 10. Right now, I will be going next week to Region 10 again with a number of persons who would have requested. We have started new single parents. We have a program there where we are now looking, we have started it already, and we are now expanding that program where we will put them into businesses, give them broilers, and help them to start a business, a small business, right? I am working very closely with my colleague, Onij Waldron, and we have been working very closely to enhance this part of it. The other issue is, I mentioned it, I didn't get to mention it in my budget debate, but I want to say for the first time in the history of this country, we are starting to produce our own hatching eggs. We produce 196,000 hatching eggs the first time. So, Mr. Speaker, we know that this organization, GLD, is very important. And whatever they do it will have an impact on the country's livestock development. And we want to be ensure that we have open transparency and accountability. When that issue happened, we called in the police. There was a big investigation. A number of persons were interviewed, and the matter is right now with the DPP's chamber. We are waiting on the DPPs to institute whatever they have to do.
Thank you, Minister. MP Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I will move on. Guyanese will be able to judge from all that is being said. Mr. Chair, at Gaisuko, we see $5.9 billion being allocated. Mr. Chair, I want to ask the Honorable Minister, what has it cost Gaisuko or the national coffers to pay salaries and benefits to the technical teams that are currently working at the corporation, that is the Cuban and Indian engineers?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, you know, these people came in here, and we recognize that the technical persons that came from Cuba and India are making a valuable impact and working along very closely with the local people. They are local with the local people. So I am not too bothered when people who are not performing and they were relieved of their duty making all kinds of remarks. So I want to say, for example, what we have been doing at Gaisuku, I said it, and I didn't get to elaborate on it. I said that already 40% of the cultivation have been mechanized. We are looking, also these people are helping us with the factories. We know that the factories were neglected. All the carriers under the factory, rollers have to be changed, the pond dumper is not functioning properly, and all those things now we are working. All right? So what we have been doing, we have a management contract with both sets of people, and it's costing approximately $150 million annually to pay these people. But they are bringing good expertise to us, and we are very optimistic that we, with their kinds of expertise that they have, and with our people, we will turn around Gaisuku.
Thank you, Minister. MP Jordan.
Mr. Chair, I would ask of the Honorable Minister if he's kind enough to provide a report on the improvements or changes made by the engineering team since they are here, and what have they done to enact or cause improved operations and production within Gaisuku. That could be laid over to sir, no problem.
Minister.
Mr. Chair, I can provide a report now if the honorable member wanted. I can talk about and you can write. You want me to do that? What they have been doing?
Mr. Chair.
So, Mr. Chair, the Indians. The Indians. All right, I will.
Thank you. Minister will lead over those performance reports, Honorable MP. That's it. Honorable members, I now put a question that this. Honorable member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would like to take the minister to volume 2, page 116. His strategies under this program 211. Honorable Minister, your very last strategy speaks of energy audits and the conversion from the use of fossil fuels to green energy technologies in farms. Could you kindly tell the House how many farms in 2024 have benefited from these strategies? And if you had any audits, where were these audits done and in what area? Volume 2. Volume 2, page 116, where you have your objective and strategies for this program.
So, Mr. Chair, yes, So we have been working very closely with a number of farmers across this country. There are a number of farming, and I can invite the opposition to visit these farms. We have these greenhouses right across. As a matter of fact, let me be very frank with you all here this morning. We have the largest hydroponic farm in the Caribbean right at Manripo. 100,000 plantlets. 100,000 plantlets. And we are working with a lot of solar power and solar energy. We have partnered with Victoria Green to build that there. The same thing we are replicating in regions 2, 5, and 10. The same, and only 2 days ago I was speaking with Mr. Honorable Member Jorman Fogera about involving the young people in Linden, bringing them on stream. He was telling me he has some young people. We have a number of farms on the east bank of Demerara. We have a number of farms in Parika area. So we have been working over time to ensure that we build these, what you call it, we modernize the system, because what we have now, we have a lot of requests coming to Guyana from the Caribbean for produce. For example, St. Lucia. St. Lucia, if you go to Manripo now, and a number of other farmers, they are producing the hot peppers for St. Lucia, being exported to St. Lucia. You have a number of things like pumpkins. You have things like leafy vegetables being exported to Barbados. Only a few days ago, I saw on social media a number of produce being packaged at the Sophia Packaging Center, being produced. So what we are doing, we are modernizing this farm. We are moving, as the honorable member rightly said, we are moving from that type of technology to the new one that we are now installing.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member,
Follow.
Ms. Lawrence.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I wish the minister would have just answered my question specifically. I'm asking how many energy audits you did last year, right? Because you have several agencies here that are receiving funds under this program. So how many energy audits you did? And I'm also asking how many farms you removed from fossil fuel to green energy. That's all I'm asking. If you don't have it here, you can lay it over.
So, Mr. Chair, we have the figure. I can lay that over to the honorable member.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, on the same page, I'm going now to your indicators. At indicator 5, you indicated that you published 3 research and development papers in 2024, and you're planning to do 7 in 2025. Could you kindly tell the House which areas you are focusing on, and under which one of these agencies we'll see this research being done? Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, we have been working with NARI to deal with these issues, and those papers were published by NARI. We have, and the other 7 that we plan to publish are growth in media development for various crop seedlings, things like coconut, tomatoes, new crops. We're talking about comparative analysis of yields potential for various crop cultivated. And if you realize that we have been having a lot of high yields in certain crops, we are trying to look at other crops, how we can increase those yields. And we have been having good results. As you rightly said, that with the modernization being taking place now, and what we have been doing in terms of the research that our officers are doing, we are having better yields. Also, we will be doing fertilizer trials and things like ginger and black pepper. You know for a fact that we are doing large scale spice production in region 1. Things like ginger, turmeric, nutmeg, black pepper. We are looking at those areas. You know, those areas have to build up the pH level of the soil, things like that. So we are looking at that. We are looking at evaluation of various seeds and the varying condition of storage, and a number of other things. So, and we have those papers. We have it. We can share it with you all.
It'd be very nice
Thank you,
if
Minister.
when you're finished.
MP Lawrence.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, through you to the Honorable Minister, I would just like to propose that these studies can be laid in the National Assembly or at the National Library, so that, we don't have to come here. Some of us, we do research. Could I turn you to number 8 of the indicators? At number 8, Mr. Chairman, the Honorable Minister has here the number of occurrences of animal disease outbreak. In 2024, you're listing 1. I am thinking that that had to do with the poultry industry. But my concern is that you don't have anything for 2025. So what is the thought behind that, that we are going incubated for many diseases or so?
Honorable Minister.
This is a work in progress, Mr. Speaker. We have had a number of those last year because, as you rightly mentioned, we have not only the poultry, but we have had the bird flu issue. We have had but we have had the bird flu. Those are ongoing. That is why it's not integrated here. But we are looking, because Guyana is not in area where you have this what you call it, foot and mouth diseases, things like that. We are clear, we are clean. But last year we have the IBH problem in the poultry industry. We have started to produce our own vaccine, and we'll continue to do that. But according to my the GLDA person in charge, Dr. Walron, he's telling me that we have it under control so far, and we'll continue to look at it. But that is the main issue, or the main focus that we are focusing now.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 21, Program 212, Agricultural Development and Support Services, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Please turn to page 499, 500. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 21, Program 212, Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, could the Honorable Minister give us an update on the pump stations? NDIA. Could the Honorable Minister give us an update on the pump stations at Merzog, Bellevue, Podron, and Jimbo Grove?
Honorable Minister.
Sorry. Those pump stations are still under the contracted period. Construction pump station at this is not charity. So you have a line that will be Bellevue. You talk about Bellevue, you talk about Metamerzog, Jumbo, and Podrine. The works are in progress, Mr. Speaker, and this contract period will be end by July. And I am very up. I have met with the contractors, with the consultant and the engineers, and I told them that we are not extending any time for pump station there. So work are ongoing at those pump stations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, could the Honourable Minister just say, what are the percentage by pump station that has been completed thus far?
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Chair, I don't think I have all, but what I have I will give, and the rest, for example, Jimbo at East Bank, we have 37% completed. This one, Blackbush Folder, well, you don't ask for that, but Blackbush Folder Frontlands, we have 37% too at that one.
Honourable Member,
Jimbo, we have
Mr.
37% at Jimbo, that East Bank, East Bank Demerara, 37. And you had some issue there, Mr. Chair, because there was an old cemetery there. And the contractor had to remove and remove some graves there and put it to other areas. So he had a delay because he had to get onto the board of health, and they have to work together to get it done. This one here at Mr. Chair, can I lay over these documents? Well, I have it here, but they right.
Yes, Mr. Chair. That is,
Yes, you can.
so, seeing that
MP
we will,
Holder?
oh, Jordan, seeing that we will lay over, Mr. Chair, let me just,
Sorry, Jordan.
yes, that's what I was looking to say. Let me just ask at the same time, what is the, if by chance he has with him for that of Chesney on the quarantine?
Mr. Chair, we changed the scope
Minister.
there and we put in mobile pumps there because we'll be purchasing 40 mobile pumps. It's already been procured, awarded, and we are waiting for the to arrive.
Thank you, Minister.
No, what percent is completed? That's what I was asking. You know, if you're going to lay all of that over, put all together.
We are not. We are not doing fixed pumps. I said we'll put mobile pumps. Mobile pumps. These mobile pumps that we the 80 cubic, the 40 cubic, or the 120 cubic. We'll put two 80 cubic or two 120 cubic at Chesney to help to drain there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I move on to Cottage Myconi.
Mr. Chair, I have been advised that it's more than 80%. Yes, the discharge box has to be done with the pipe and the pump installed.
Thank you, Minister. MP Jordan.
Mr. Chair, 80% completed, and last year we had in this very house the minister saying 80% completed, then he said 75% late in the year, and then he said by the end of the year it will be completed. But we're in 2025 January, Mr. Speaker, and we're back at 80% as the Hansard would have it in 2024, Mr. Chair, at January. So what really is happening at Cottage, Mr. Chair? This pump station seems to be going backwards rather than forward every time we speak about it. What is happening? When will it really be completed?
Minister.
So, Mr. Chair, this pump station has not been going backward. We have had, I don't know, the honorable member is member of parliament for Region 5. He didn't know that we had a big breach there. We had a failure of this two sluice door. We had a breach there, and the contractor was given 6 weeks extension to complete his work. That's the reason we've gone over January. So we had a serious breach there. As a matter of fact, right now we are looking to replace the sluice door, what we did at in Abari, metal door, put metal door at the engineer is telling me recently it's finished there. Metal door at Cottage, the two sluices there.
Thank you, Minister. MP
Mr.
Jordan.
Chair, thank you, sir. Mr. Chair, last year the honorable minister said that the completion date was March 30th, 2024. It was at 80%. I have the answer, sir. So, and Mr. Chair, late in the year when we came for additional sums, the minister said again, as a matter of fact, then he said it was 75%. So I'm having a problem, sir, with the percentage of completion, or that rate keep going back and forward, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Chair, apart from the other calamities that you had with the pump station, what is needed to complete, and when will it be completed?
So, Chair, I already said that we had some issues there, and the contractor was given 6 weeks extension. I didn't move from the 80% that the honorable member would have said. When the last time we came for a supplementary appropriation here, that matter was raised, and I remember telling the opposition that it's about 80% completed, and we are looking forward for it to be completed by the end of December. I said that. I'm not reneging what I said or saying I didn't say that. But then, since then, we have had the breaches there. We have installed the what you call it, the metal door, and the contractor has been given 6 weeks. He has to put on the discharge pipes you have to put on the discharge box and the pump house and install the pump. And he asked for 6 weeks and he was granted.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you,
MP Hall.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, permit me to ask the minister to tell us about the one at Charity and Andrews Pump Station. Or you can lay it over, Minister. Charity and Andrews.
So
Sorry.
So Andrews, Mr. Chair, we have commissioned Andrews. Andrews is operable and it's running for the last month. It has been running there. The one at Charity, we have to change the scope of work there, the design, because we are having serious erosion on the dams there, and we are looking also to try to see if we can stop the fixed pump, because although the revetment was done, they had people from the Sea Defense Authority working with NDIA. They had a lot of testing, and the soil there, they have a lot of movements from the dam, because of that we had flooding and things like that. So we are looking at the integrity of the dam, and we are hoping to change the scope of work. We have asked the contractor to put all operations on hold until we have the technical people then come up with a proper spec so that we can implement that there.
MP Jordan. MP Maipor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for that update with regards to the Charity Pump Station. And can I ask you to provide a similar update for us on the Bellevue Pump Station, noting that nothing is really happening there? And I know that it's still within the contract period, but is there any update you can provide us in terms of what is the new completion date and so on?
So, Mr. Chair, the completion date have not been changed. It's still under the contract period, and it's about 10% work have already been completed here.
And may I ask the Honorable Minister, sir, to please tell us what is the date that it is supposed to be completed as per the contract period?
Mr. Chair, I can lay that over. I don't have it in my possession here, but I think between July and August is the completion date.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, may I further ask the Honorable Minister, the Charity Pump Station that we have to now go and change the specs because of all the problems that have arisen, and the other pump stations that are giving us some difficulties because maybe of soil and what's not. The amount of money that was given to this contractor for the Charity Pump Station, Adamantium Holding, is that a loss that the state would incur, or will the contractor be asked to repay the amount of money expended on this project so far that now has to go and be redesigned and basically reconstructed from the start? How do we deal with that amount of money that was already paid in the millions to that contractor?
Mr. Chair, extensive work was done in terms of preparatory work. I mean, those work are their permanent work. Things like ensuring that they reinforce the embankment there. They moved the process. $273 million was expended. They purchased the pumps already. We'll have to use that pump for another pump station, fixed pump I am talking about. And then they did a lot of revetment with rods, and according to the engineer, we'll have value there, that the money that we expended, including the pumps and the sheet pile. They purchased the sheet piles and things like that. They did revetment also for a large area with the sheet piling at Charity. But because you're having slippage all the time, we put it on hold. That's the reason. And we'll install 2 hydroflow pumps in the meantime and see what design, because that area also is a flood prone area. We need a lot of good drainage there. So we have had hydroflow pump and it's been working there, and we'll continue to see what we can do. But I want to assure the honorable member that we will have value for the money that we're expending.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I ask the Honorable Minister to, in a similar light that he said there, 273 million for the Charity Pump Station, would he be kind enough to also tell us the total sum that was associated to the disbursement towards the Bellevue Pump Station so far from that allotted total sum of the pump station?
Honorable Minister.
So, Chair, I don't have that figure here, but I can lay it over. The contractor was paid mobilization advance and material and ground. Sheet pile and I believe timber. Hold on. He was paid $82 million.
100 and
82.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member Maipol.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My final question, would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to, all the pump stations that are incomplete, would he be kind enough to lay over the sum of money that is already expended on them, the percentage of completion, and the date of completion for each one of them that are incomplete?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I will can do that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Honorable members, I now put the question.
Mr. Chair.
Honorable Member.
Thank you,
Mr.
thank you,
Jordan.
Mr. Chair. Mr.
I
Chair,
have the Honorable Member Dr. Cummings and the Honorable Member Ms. Lawrence also. Go ahead,
okay,
Mr. Jordan.
Mr. Chair, could the Honorable Minister say or tell us about, well, he mentioned last year that we will be building 3 hoop-like canals on the NDIA in regions 3, 5, and 6. I know works were started in region number 6, but there was some disputes with regards to land and what's not. Could the Honorable Minister say to the House what percentage of those works were since completed, and for all 3 regions rather, and then I'll take it after that.
Honorable Minister.
So, Mr. Chair, that funding or those funding for the Hope Like Canal is not in this program, any of this program here for appropriation. But I can give the honorable member some information. The entire project for Region 6 have been awarded. The embankment from number 66 to Vinshab in Kanji have already been completed. We are now looking at the Hope Like Canal itself. We have 2 Hope Like Canal will be built. One at number 51, 52, one at in the Wim, Manchester area. Those 2 Hope Like Canal will be built there. The entire work have been awarded and contracted out already. The design for Region 3 have been completed, and the work for Region 5 is now at the procurement level.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Follow up on region number 3 and number 5. Can you give me the specific locations, please? Sorry.
Minister.
So, like what we did in Region 6, building an embankment to keep away the water from the back coming into the housing area and the cultivation area from number 66 to Vinshab. We have a 90-kilometer embankment from Mahaika right onto the back of Lemon Ithaca. So we'll keep away those water coming into the frontlands, and you have a number of locations there. So like places like Cottage, right next to Cottage where we're building the pump station also. We have places like Danzig, where we had the flooding when they had the breach. You have left bank of the Abari. Those are area earmarked for the Hope Like Canal. And then you have the B line in Region 3.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member Dr. Cummings.
Yes, actually, I wanted to follow up on the MP Ganesh Maipal's question on the pumps. You did say you would provide a list of those to be overall or whatever is the appropriate term. But I'm specifically asking about Victoria. I don't know if it's on the list because last year we had overtopping. The sluice door was two of the doors were broken. So I don't know if you have it in your budget this year to repair those, or even at the national level or the regional level. If you're going to make monies available to the region, or you're going to do it from the national coffers at your national level.
Minister.
So, Mr. Chair, at Victoria, I want to inform the honorable member we have already repaired the sluice door there, and we have to put in a discharge pipe from one of the pump there. So that will be installed shortly. NDIA now are working to get that fixed, and you'll have operations there back again with those pumps at Victoria. For the member's sake, for this house sake, we had almost 10 pump stations, and you have pump station at Cosia, Andrews, Greenwich Park, Liliendal, Ogle, Montrose, Adventure, and the Quarantine. All those pump stations have been completed already. We have another one at Canals number 1, which should be completed in a week time. So we have close to about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pump stations, Mr. Speaker. We have completed 8 fixed pump stations already for the last 3 years, and we are now in the process of building another 7 pump stations. But we still have the issue with the Indian line of credit, the pumps that were purchased by the former government, those 13 pumps, some undersized pumps. We are still working to get back our money because although the pump was undersized, the former government still purchased the pump and the pump cannot be used. We are getting serious problem, and those are the pumps that we have to replace.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honorable Minister, I want to turn you to page 118 of Volume 2. Your strategies, that is the third bullet. You speak of value-added processing. You're promoting cost-effective value-added processing. Could you kindly say to the House for last year, which of the products that you mentioned earlier are a part of the value-added processing, and what input would have caused it to be able to meet the other market products out there, similar products like that, so that we can be able to have a high standing in terms of our exports. Because in Guyana, everything we make is good, but on the export market is a different situation. So what is it that you have been able to input into those products to give us that advantage? That's my
Minister.
first question.
So, Mr. Chair, we have conducted a lot of training last year. And as I mentioned, with these agro-processing facilities around the country. For example, if you look at a company, Umani now has 3 agro-processing facilities across the country. They are adding values to a number of produce. And our product now has not been only sold in the Caribbean, but Europe even. Things like okra being value added, right? We are talking about packaging, proper packaging. We have had a number of symposium, a number of training by the officers at GMC. We have specialized officers here. We have improved our packaging, the kind of packaging we used to do. And I showed you some this morning, Mr. Speaker. You saw it. You saw the standard that we have. So we have improved tremendously. And what we have been, and we have encompassed a number of new products that we have had now in the market over the last year. But we have done a lot of training with agro processors. We have a steady link with them, not only one-off training, but we have workshops. We have our officers visiting, and extension services is very, very robust now, going in and meet these people, have extensive dialogue, extensive training, and encourage them to do best practices, things like those.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Follow up, Mr. Chair. So, Minister, having done all of the training, especially focusing on packaging and so on, I want to ask you, what are the new value-added products within the fisheries industry are we working on to add to the market?
So, Mr. Chair, I just mentioned some earlier. I have a list here we can lead over to you.
No, I don't want to
Right?
hold to.
Right? I have a list of those value added that you talk about. Things like you have
3 things that we don't know about.
right. You have a lot of you have dehydrated foods, right? You have smoked fish
There's a
coming
whole
out.
thing. Give a
Right?
new one.
Pardon me?
Give me a new thing.
Right. So you have a number of
fish jam.
you got ham, you have chicken ham, you have bacon, kind of school of agri. A number of things, and I can lay this over.
Thank you, Minister.
So, Mr.
Ms. Lawrence?
Chair, may I follow up with the minister? Is there any investment, training or otherwise, into things like fish jam, fish paste, fish powder, etc. Since we're doing all this hydrating and so on, because those are big products on the market, you know.
Honorable Minister.
So, Mr. Chair, we move into meat here. As we started with legumes, as I mentioned earlier, we have a number of other products, but we are moving with there. We have started there also not only in one industry like the aquaculture industry now too. We are trying to use what we are producing in aquaculture to add value to it, to make it more attractive. For example, the prawns that we have been producing now. We are, as the honorable member would know, we had it at the Christmas Village. We package it, we make it very attractive, and it's very, very, very now in demand. Right here in Guyana, and also we will export those things. We are working with agro fishing processing plants to what you say there, to add value to those products. But I want to be very honest that we haven't reached to those products that you mentioned, but we are working to meet there, and we will meet there.
Thank you, Minister. Before I take the next question, I just want to let Minister Walwa know we will take her agency after the lunch break. So you can so advise your staff. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I turn the minister to the same page 118 to his last strategy, which speaks of strengthening the data collection, analysis, and information sharing systems. On the internet, there are various AI programs being used in farms around the world. I would like to know from you, Minister, in terms of our large production, that is the shrimp and the prawns and all of that, what are we using in terms of data collection? Are we collecting data from the farms? Is there a connection between the farmers and the ministry? What is happening? Is there data flowing to and fro?
So, Mr. Chair, last year only I launched the agriculture information system that the honorable member talked about. We have had a number of training for our extension officers. We have enlarged the pool of extension officers. They are collecting the information, and we are working to have those information now made available to members of the public. So within a month from now, you'll see we have right across the country, in various regions now, we have these information system that are now sending information directly to headquarters, to the central headquarters. So we compile those information, and not only in farmers alone, what they have been producing, but other produce coming into agriculture produce. So we have an entire comprehensive system. We are only, as I said, only last year in November I launched the agriculture information system. As, the HESAT program, we work along very closely with HESAT. SATP, the SATP program, and they have helped us to fund this program. We had a consultant right here in Guyana who have helped us to craft the program, and we launch it. So we have an entire comprehensive system, and that will be made available on our website shortly.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the indicators. I noticed that the first indicator puts together the production of aquaculture and inland fisheries together. Minister, could you disaggregate what you got last year and what you're anticipating to achieve this year?
Minister.
So, Mr. Chair, yes, I have those figures. Like, for example, aquaculture. If you look at the brackish water shrimp, we're able to move production from 10,000 kilograms monthly to about 120,000 kilograms. So if you look here, fish hatchery have been expanded to breed additional fish species to meet the growing demand for fingerling by farmers. Expected production for the 50 cages that we are installing now. We have the production of marine fisheries. They're tons or kilos. From 49,513 tons, we want to move it. Our indicator this year is 50,270, and it's here the targets 2024 achievement, and the targets, they are right here, right? So these are the things. For example, the fingerling cages, we are putting in these tambiki. We are now breeding those tambiki right here in Guyana, rather than to bring the fingerling from Brazil. Right? We are building our own feed mill. We have already built our own hatchery for the Vanami prawns. We have our own brood stock now. They are now reproducing these fingerlings, right? So although we are still importing some, very shortly we will be self-sufficient in producing not only fingerlings and larvae for the government or the Ministry of Agriculture ponds, but for other private investors across the country. We are also breeding tilapia fingerlings right at the Satadilsa agriculture station. So the tambiki fingerlings, the tilapia fingerlings, the vanami larvae, all those will be produced, or are producing, not will, are producing at the Satadilsa aquaculture station at Manruku. And also we are building a feed mill there so that we can produce our own feed for those production.
Just one last question, Mr.
Go ahead.
Chairman. Honorable Minister, can I, as an ordinary citizen, go to Monrepos and ask for a tour?
Can be organized.
So I will have to call your office.
So you speak to the person in charge and they will be instructed what to do.
All right. I just wanted you to say it nationally so those people can hear.
Remember, Mr. Chair, also we have to look at the biosecurity of those places too. So some areas, like the fingerling areas that we are now producing it, you have a lot of, what you call it? The technical people will tell you, we can contaminate those areas too.
No.
Remember,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Lawrence, am I getting you correct though? You weren't asking for MP Valda Lawrence. You're asking for ordinary Jane Valda Lawrence. Okay. Honorable members, I now put a question that is some stated.
Mr. Chair,
MP Jordan.
1301900. Sir, Danzig, Fairfield, and Content for sure, they had a sum of $275 million last year, and works were ongoing. As a matter of fact, it's rolled over, and that project had an outstanding balance of 21,278,000,000, and there were some geotextile tube grind at Paradise, which was supposed to be completed, and that had an outstanding balance of $13 million. Mr. Speaker, I'd just like an update on these projects
Honorable
by
Minister.
completion percentage.
So, Mr. Chair, we remember that this project caused a heated argument right in this house. In 2019, we had a serious breach. Almost 2,000 acres of farmland was destroyed up to date. Saltwater encroached there, and the farmers lost their crop. When we resumed government in 2020, we went to the farmers and we start back a process there. Consultation, we start to rebuild the entire sea defense there. Not only last year, but the year before last. And last year we did massive work. We constructed 200-meter timber breakwater, leaving out all the other areas that sea defense. Under Minister Ejil, sea defense would have done a lot of work there also. So we have, to date, we have $10.8 million that have been rolled over, and that is to facilitate the retention payment and the complete 200-meter timber breakwater at Danzig. The complete grinds are expected to support the restoration of 2.4 hectares of mangrove, strengthening production. So that is the retention that is payable.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I specifically asked for the completion percentage, or rather, if the projects. Mr. Chair, also you had the procurement of, or rather, let's move on to GLDA, Mr. Chair, because it will all fall in the same line. Mr. Chair, at GLDA, I want to ask the Honorable Minister under poultry, what percentage has the ministry estimated the IBH pandemic to have destroyed poultry across the country?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, it's not a pandemic. First of all, we have to establish that. In 2024, when it started, when it started, it was about 55% of the poultry, entire poultry population being affected. We were able to work with the Poultry Farmers Association, work with other number of farmers, and we have reduced that now to 14% at the end of 2024. It's an endemic, and it's not a pandemic.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, coming out of the reduction from 55% to 14% at the end of the year, could the Honorable Minister say now what you said earlier, rather, that provisions are made for you producing or reproducing our own vaccines and having the work done here? What sum is allocated to that project?
Minister.
So, Mr. Chair, when we had this serious problem with it, we gave $29 million to the industry to procure vaccines, and then we helped we brought in specialists to produce the vaccines in Guyana. This year, $27 million budgeted to help in that area.
Thank you. MP.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, following up now, could the Honorable Minister say to the House, for those persons that are listed within the 55% and then coming down to 40% that were affected, the farmers and the areas, what assistance was given to those poultry farmers?
Minister.
So, Mr. Chair, what we did first of all, we tried to avoid this problem again. So we did a lot of training in biosecurity. We helped the farmers. We had a symposium right here at this convention center, the conference center, and the president himself was here with the bank. Some of the farmers we were able to have the interest rate reduced who wants loan to fund their small operation, but a number of farmers across the country, we helped them to restock and get them back in production.
Thank you, Minister.
And we also help them with chemicals.
MP.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I was just trying to get specifically what was it that you give to the farmers directly to help them to restart? Because in some cases, some farmers were completely wiped out. No.
We give physically, we give the boilers, we give them, and we give them also the chemical so they can avoid the disease being reoccurring on their farm.
Thank you. MP.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, my reason for asking to know that boards were given, in a case, Mr. Chair, could the Honourable Minister be able to say to me, a citizen having lost 1,500 boards to the disease, what would you give to him or her as a startup?
So we can't bring a hypothetical question like that, Mr. Speaker. We have to assess the situation by case by case. If a farmer loses 1,500 boards, we'll help them substantially back. We'll put them back on their feet, but that doesn't mean this is an open invitation for people to come here and last 500 and 1,000 and 1,000 boards. We have to assess the case. We have our extension officers and working. They have to go and visit the environment, see the hygienic standard of the poultry farmers, see what they have been doing. First of all, try to eradicate further the disease coming back on their farm. Get all those systems in place before we give them back board again.
Thank you, Minister. MP.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Mr. Chair, the minister said that the reduction of the disease and its impact on poultry farmers from 55% to 14% at the end of 2024. But sir, from my own survey, I recognize that at the end of 2024, there are a number of farmers who were affected both in regions 2, 3, and 5, and a small portion in region 6 that I know of, but they were not given any form of assistance. Mr. Chair, could the Honourable Minister be kind enough to present to this House or lay over that list of farmers that were assisted during 2024?
Minister?
So, Mr. Chair, I mentioned I mentioned it earlier that if a farmer would have lost bird, first of all, there are a number of measures they have to satisfy. They have to come into the program. We have to train them. We have to eradicate the disease, ensure that the pens are okay, the environments are okay, so that as long they are in the program. And if the honourable member has a member of the public or farmers who would have suffered and never make contact with us or never come around and expect that we don't know about the situation, then we can't. How are we going to intervene and deal with it? If the honourable member of parliament, who is based in Region 5, you had those issues, you normally call me, you normally speak to me. You should say that, Minister, look, we got 10 person here. Can you send your extension officer to this 10 person? But you wait and you don't do nothing. The people lose their board. After a year now, you come into this parliament telling me that you get a number of persons who would have lost their board and you never give them anything. But you, as a member of parliament, as an honorable member of parliament, you have to go and do your work in the field to ensure that these people get them things.
Thank you, Minister MP.
Mr. Chair, respectfully, sir, the Honourable Minister did not ask of me whether those persons that I'm referring to did report to the authorities or not. And these are persons who would have reported to GLDA and never got any assistance from the extension officers. And Mr. Speaker, I am willing to provide names to the minister once I know that actions will be taken, because I have one farmer.
Honorable member, please let's exchange the names. We honorable people here serving people. Let's try and work it out.
So Mr. Chair, if I could just say a last word on this issue. As I said, there were certain protocols. And if those farmers or those persons who would have lost didn't subject themselves to the criteria that we have, the training, we have to eradicate, as I said, look at the entire situation.
I heard you the first time when you said,
I'm saying, I don't know if they, right.
If your farm doesn't meet some minimum standards of sanitation, doesn't make sense for me to give you the birds. Same thing will happen. So let us move on, exchange the information, and work to benefit the people.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You serve as a great mediator today, sir. Mr. Chair, I'm moving on to the famous black belly sheep. Mr. Chair, but very short. The first question, Mr. Chair, could the Honourable Minister say whether he received the 293 black belly sheep, as was mentioned in the Hansard of last year? He mentioned that there were some that had to come from the Honourable Mayor Motley. The remainder, could you say whether you received it?
Before you answer, Honourable Member, I just heard a little aside you made. There's a difference between black sheep and black belly sheep. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, this was a question put to me in Parliament, a question which I respond to from the Honourable Member, that 163 farmers were given help, and we have continued that. I mentioned in my budget speech that we received the 1,000 black belly sheep from Barbados, and we have since reproduced almost 800 of sheep. So we have almost 1,800 black belly sheep now in the system, leaving out what the farmers them are producing around the country. So we are building that brand that the president talked about, the black belly sheep brand, to replace things like the New Zealand lamb coming to this part of the world. And that brand is being built for CARICOM right here in Guyana. That is the thing that we are talking about, the vision that we have as a government.
Thank you, Minister.
Mr. Chair, I am only referencing what the minister said to me last year. He said that he received 707, and that was from the first tranche, or another tranche will come according to the minister from Barbados. He told me that, Mr. Chair, and then he said that the ministers again told me that we will receive 293 sheep remaining before the first half, and when one looks at the budget. Well, continue. So I am only referencing what the minister said. So probably if I was misled, sorry, not misled, I misunderstood. I am referencing from what you said last year. So I just wanted to know if you got the 293, then we
No,
can
no,
move
no.
on with the conversation.
Mr. Chair, I said that was a question posed to me last year, which I answered. And I said in my budget speech that we received the 100, about the 1,000 sheep from Barbados, and since then we have reproduced almost 800 of the sheep. So we got at GLDA now has in their possession almost 800 black belly sheep, the 1,000 from Barbados and the 800 almost that we have reproduced in Guyana. So I was referring that the question that the honorable member asked me last year, I submit that answer, but I qualify it and said when I spoke during the budget debate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, again, last year, I asked the Honorable Minister, and I didn't receive. I would like the Honorable Minister to kindly provide a list of these farmers that received the black belly sheep. No, I didn't get that.
Honorable
Chair,
Minister?
that was a question I said, and I provide the list. Honorable member who are honest enough can tell me that I can reproduce the list and give him.
Thank
But I'm
you.
just saying that the honorable member, when they get these answers, must keep it for themselves. Don't produce lists all the time. Now we have 163 persons. 163 persons who have been involved in this program, and most from Region 5. I even brought some physically. When I spoke here during the budget debate, they were sitting down at the top there.
No, sorry.
Thank you, honorable members. Let me put the question because we are now a bit over the time.
One other question.
Sure, go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair. Mr. Chair, the question is very simple. I'm just trying to clear up what is being peddled in the public. Could the Honorable Minister say to this House and Guyanese whether it is true or not that in Region 6, the black belly sheep is now being eaten? I'm just asking for clarity. It is being cooked, whether or not it is true.
Mr. Chair, we can't come with allegation here and erase it. It's not untrue. It's untrue.
Sorry, respectfully, it's not an allegation. I was just asking for clarity. Moving on, sir. Mr. Chair, permit me to jump right. Yes,
Go
Mr.
ahead,
Chair.
MP.
Mr. Chair, permit me to jump right over to 450320 Gaisuko. Mr. Chair, I want to ask of the Honorable Minister, what is his plan to achieve the 101 metric tons of sugar as is set by Gaisuko for 2025? If it is a detailed plan that he wants to lay over, I am willing enough to accept it in that document form.
Minister?
Mr. Chair, we already, as I said, we have 40% mechanization. We already look at the cane cultivation, the amount of cane that we have in the field. With Gaisuko, you have shown me the amount of cane they have in the field. And with the TCTS this year, with the plant canes, because plant canes, you always have improved TCTS tons canes per ton sugar. So you're taking less canes to make the amount of sugar. Gaisuko indicated to me that the amount of cane that they have, and with the factories now being rehabilitated, that they will make the sugar of 101,000 tons.
Thank you, Minister. MP?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, accepted by the Honorable Minister with hope that they will produce the 101 tons. Mr. Chair, sugar is being produced by Gaisuko at an average cost of US 1.31 per pound, while it is being sold at US $0.17 per pound, or 17 cents. Mr. Chair, this results to a loss of US $1.14 on every pound of sugar sold by Gaisuko to the foreign market. I want to ask of the Honorable Minister, how do you intend to fix this loss to production ratio?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair, as I said, that the honorable member put a question over already. I gave him the amount, and we are working to reduce tremendously the cost of production, right? And according to Gaisuku, we have been advised that they are looking at 51 cents, the reduction for this year to bring it down to 51 cents. But we also have to look at the impact of Gaisuku on the economy, this amount of people. So as long as we produce more sugar, and sugar is not a thing that you produce more, you have to pay more. You produce sugar more, the cost of production will reduce. That is the kind of thing with sugar.
Thank you very much, Minister. I'll take
Miss,
one final question.
all right, I'll go with the final. Mr. Chair, um, Gaisuko in 2020, or from 2020 to now rather, lost 30 or almost $30 billion. In 2020, it lost 6.4 billion. In 2021, lost 7.8 billion. In 2022, 10.2. 2023, 4.7 billion. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask of the minister, what will you do to fix this problem of continued losses, and what is the total loss for 2024?
So
Honorable
I
Minister.
just mentioned one that we are working to reduce the cost of production. But I mentioned it also, and it has been mentioned with a number of persons, that the industry was in a state where we have to spend a lot of funds to bring it back where it is now. As I said, that places like Rose Hall, cultivation was a forest. We had to clear it back and replant the entire cultivation at Rose Hall. Right? I plot estate was left at the mercy of nature, and probably by the grace of God, it functioned. Albion, the entire system at Albion, we have to continue fix it. So, Mr. Chair, we are working to ensure that we have maximum capacity at these estates so that we can crush the cane. We are having better planting, better cane now. We are planting back new canes, better varieties of cane. So we are working very aggressively to reduce that cost of production. So the losses that the honorable member would have alluded to, that will be reduced tremendously. And and also we must look not only the destruction that was done to Gaisuku, but also the cause in 2021 when almost the entire cultivation was destroyed by floods. Right? We have the most devastating flood that took place in this country in 2021.
Thank you, Minister.
The last part, Minister, the total losses for 2024.
I don't have that figure, Mr. Chair. When the auditor finish, I will look at it.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I will, two things. First, before I put a reminder to people who are visiting about recordings and cheering when you're in the gallery. Now, you see a red light in my face over the past couple of minutes, right? So please, you're visiting, you're assisting with the answers to that. No recording, no transmission from the chamber. And even I caution MPs about doing that yesterday. Honorable members, we are going to have to put all of the remaining heads at this time. So I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 21, Program 212 Capital, Agency 21, Program 213 Current and Capital, Agency 21, Programs 214 both Current and Capital. These are 5 headings. I put the question that all 5 of the sums stated therein stand part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated for all of these programs in Agency 21 now stand part of the estimates. Let the assembly resume. Honorable members, we will take a suspension for 1 hour, and I'm urging MPs, please, let's have a quorum on time so that we can continue examining the estimates.